Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss how sex drives evolution. In many animal species, there are some traits like tail color and length or songs that differ between males and females. This is called sexual dimorphism. One of the most extreme dimorphisms is observed in males and female peacocks. The ornaments, elaborate behavior, and structure are nearly always restricted to males. Most of these traits require time and energy. They also reduce survival of the organism by making it harder for the males to escape from predators or even expose them to predators, for example, by having sharp colors. Therefore, for a long time, biologists have wondered how these traits have evolved. To explain that, we should keep in mind that the currency of selection is not survival, but successful reproduction. The head ornament on the head of the king of Saxony bird of paradise, or the shiny blue body and huge tail of a male peacock do not help them survive, but increases their chances of getting a mate. Darwin recognized this trade-off and named it sexual selection. There is two types of sexual selection: direct competition between males to access females that in some species results in bloody fights. Other type of sexual selection is where females choose the males. This leads to traits such as bright colors and ornaments in males. Both types are tested and fully supported. Red-winged blackbirds are polygynous, means they mate with more than one female. Male defends his territory by keeping other males away from females. He does that by singing complex songs as well as threatening other males by the bright red color on his wings. An experiment shows that if the red color is painted black, 70% of males would lose their territories. Several studies on bowerbirds have shown that bower decorations are correlated with mating success. The bowerbird here gets more mates if he puts blue feathers on the bowers. Females here get to choose the nicer bower. Therefore, this behavior is passed on to next generation.
Why is sex evolving called the greatest evolutionary mystery? In theory, many scientists believe that a normal gene led to sexual reproduction while a mutated gene led to paragenesis. The mutated gene will lead to a mutated female to only reproduce, giving female offspring, and those offspring in return will have females as well. While in non-mutated females would mate with males and produce half sons and half daughters. In a perfect world, the gene for paragenesis would have outcompeted the gene for sexual reproduction. Asexual genes would produce twice as many copies of itself as did the original sexual gene. This is called the twofold cause sex. Under natural selection, genes for paragenesis spread quickly, eliminating sexual reproduction. But in real life, this does not happen. The question is still, why has sex evolved? Many believe that the key may well lie in the random shuffling of genes that occur during sexual reproduction, in which produces new combinations of genes in the offsprings. Sex might have promoted fast evolution to deal with the aspect that the environment was constantly changing. A good example of this were parasites. why does sex only have two genders? And in these genders, why is there a difference in the numbers of gametes and the size of the gametes? It is presumed that earlier reproduction species in which the two sexes had gametes of equal size. Natural selection favors changing this ancestral state into a state in which one sex, males, make a lot of small gametes / sperms or pollen, and the females make fewer but larger gametes as called eggs. The size of the gametes that set the stage for all sexual selections. Males produce larger quantities of sperm and can father a huge number of offspring, only limiting by the number of females he can attract and compete and competitive abilities of his sperm. Females' eggs are expensive and limited in number, and if a female mates many times over a short period, she does little to anything to increase her number of offspring. The loss of gametes. Males versus female gametes are important to understand mating. For males, mating is cheap to undergo, but for females, it is expensive. Males, it only costs a small dose of sperm, while for females, it costs much more. Assimilation between females and males in potential numbers of males and offspring leads to conflicts of interest when it comes to choosing a mate. Natural selection. Natural selection favors genes that make male promiscuous. Females have a higher investment in eggs and offspring than the males do. Males must compete for females, making them more promiscuous, while females are more coy. Males are more attractive and vigorous. Almost all females find a mate in their lifetime. Biologists describe the differences by saying that the variance in mating success should be higher for males than females. The law of the battles is direct competition between males to leave genes into the next generations. This is why males are colorful or have mating calls. Some species are monogamous, in which both parents give parental care, and evolution can favor monogamy. Natural selection for reduced competition between members of the two sexes could lead them to evolve differences in body size. Sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism is seen in monogamous species, but white have bright colors and ornaments. These species are socially monogamous, but not actually monogamous. When it comes time to mate, females mate with other males more often than they do with their social mate. Sexual selection. Sexual selection associated with adulterous coupling is almost certain that produce the color difference between sexes. When either one of the sexes has brighter and colorful attractiveness, then one of the members competes. When the males and females pair up and do not stray from their mate, and there is no sexual competition, then there is considered no sexual selection. Polyandrous is when one female mates with many males. Polyandrous is one of the weirdest things in nature to understand in sexual reproduction, in my opinion. In polyandrous, the male is more invested in the offspring than the female. Many of the females are considered to be the colorful ones and the ones that mate a lot. A couple of examples of polyandrous are seahorses, pipefish, and phalaropes.
Finally, we will be talking about why choose. It is how a female's mate choice is being made and based on what. Both Darwin and Wallace had their own separate ideas about how female birds choose their mates. However, Darwin's theory was closer to the truth. His theory was that females do have a choice and they do choose how a male or their mate should look like based on their ornaments, sound, and color. Now that we have enough evidence to support Darwin's idea, which was true but incomplete, we can now know that a preferred male type and phenotypes will be passed on to the next offspring. However, the question is, what does a female have to gain by choosing a particular male? The female will benefit actually in two ways, directly and indirectly. One example of the direct benefiting of the female is choosing a healthier life for their offspring. One of which is choosing the good nest. Basically, a female looks for a male that could provide a good nesting territory for her and for her offspring. Another example of being benefited directly is choosing a brighter colored males. This is an indication that the bird is well fed, and based on that, a female bird could rely on a male bird to provide a whole stock of food for her young ones. Females tend to choose male mates that will have a loud song sound. This is an indication that the bird isn't infested with any disease, and based on that, they will be assured that their offspring will have good, healthy genes. Females can also indirectly benefit from choosing a particular male, and this is based on three genes: an indicator gene for a healthy male, a female gene preferring this indicator healthy male gene, and a good gene reflected by this, and this is basically and mostly is found in the offspring. There are several types of models that are used to study how a female chooses her male mates. One of which is the good gene model, which was used to compare two types of species, for example, frogs and peacocks. In both cases, females used frogs with louder calls and peacocks with more eye spots on their tails. In both cases, the choices were made by females were based on having offspring that will grow faster and survive better. For some reason, more eye spots on the tails of the peacock and louder calls in male frogs proven to have better offspring growth rate. And that's what basically a female looks for, is the better gene. Other types of models are called the sensory bias models. These type of models assume the evolution of sexual relationship between female and male birds that are based on the pre-existing biases in the female's nervous system. For example, since female birds do like the red color in ripe fruit and berries, they tend to choose the red color in males over other males with different other colors. Moreover, they might think a bigger male is better, so they will choose bigger males over the smaller ones because they think bigger males are more capable of doing complex displays. This type of model does not have to do anything with being benefited directly or indirectly from choosing a particular partner. To conclude, now we have an idea how sex drives evolution and why female birds do choose. Whatever gene the female bird will prefer in this generation will be the dominant or the most existing gene in the next generation. Whatever is beautiful for one organism is different from whatever that is beautiful for a different organism, even if both of them do belong to the same species. If they're in different places, they might have different tastes based on how selection will choose. Most of the time, what the female will choose is what will be selected.